In section 5.1, we're going to learn about translations. Now, before we get into what a translation is, this whole unit is really all about transformations, or moving a figure around a coordinate plane. A transformation, by definition, of a figure is a function or mapping that results in the change in the position, shape, or size of the figure. Some vocab here: the original figure we call the pre-image, and the resulting figure we'll call the image. A transformation that preserves the size of the shape is called a rigid motion. So if you move the shape around and it's looks like a copy of it, then it's called a rigid motion. So for example, we're mapping polygon EFGH to EFGH prime. Now notice here that those shapes look identical. They look like copies of each other. I want to know, what are the images of angle F and angle H? Now here, these problems aren't too difficult. This is just the wording of these might seem a little bit new. The image of angle F would be kind of like the new angle that matches up with the original angle. So I would say H prime is the image of angle F. H would map to H prime. So I would say that H prime is the image of angle H. Next, I want to name two pairs of corresponding sides. So I'm just going to pick two random ones. It looks like EF would map onto EF prime, and GH would map onto GH prime. Now this one was pretty straightforward because the letters all matched up except the new one had a prime with it. Sometimes it'll be a little bit more difficult, where it'll be like triangle ABC matches to XYZ, where the letters don't as obviously match up. So just kind of be aware of that. Now let's move on to what an actual translation is. A translation, I want you to think about shifting an object, okay? So I'm shifting an image. And the fancy way that we're going to write this is capital T with some vector x, y. Now that might look really fancy, but all that we're going to read that as is whatever number is with the x-coordinate, that tells us how many units to move left or right. And for the y-coordinate, that tells us how many units to move up or down. So as an example, I want to know, what are the vertices of the translation -2, -5 onto triangle PQR. So how I'm going to read that translation is I'm moving left 2 because I see a -2, and down 5 because I see a -5 at the y-coordinate. So I'm going to take every coordinate, I'm going to move it left 2 and down 5. Now tomorrow when we're working with Delta Math, we're just going to count and move the object manually. But algebraically, this is how we would go about this. I'm going to write out all my original coordinates, so P's at 2, 1, Q's at 3, 3, and R's at -1, 3. If I want to move left 2 and down 5, I'm taking the x-coordinate and I'm subtracting 2, and I'm taking the y-coordinate and I'm subtracting 5. So my resulting image, P prime, would be at 0, -4. So I'm going to plot that. Q prime would be at 1, -2. And R prime would be at -3, -2. So I plotted those out, and a way to double check here, it really does look like I took that black triangle, I shifted it a little bit to the left and down. It looks like the same size. Remember, if these looked like a totally different shape, I would know that I messed something up. Finally, a different kind of way I could ask a translation problem. I give you two triangles here. What translation maps triangle ABC onto triangle XYZ? So how I would read that, I'm starting with triangle ABC, and I want to get to triangle XYZ. It looks like I'm moving up and over. So I'm just going to kind of pick two coordinates here. I'm going to pick A. A would map onto X. I would know that because of the wording there. A is the first letter in triangle ABC. X is the first in triangle XYZ. When I'm writing these out, those letters should match up accordingly. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take A. I'm going to look to X. It looks like I'm counting up, so I'm going to see how many I have to count up. So I have to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to do my vector. I'm moving up 7. So that would be my y-coordinate. And I'm moving over 2, or to the right 2. Okay? You could have done to the left or right first and then up or down. It really doesn't matter. How I would read this translation, I'm taking triangle ABC, I'm moving to the right 2 units and then up 7 units. And I'd be done.